has finally arrived. The number 3 overall pick and savior of the team of the century will finally make his debut against a Texans team that, well, you know, all things considered, maybe we'd think about not starting him against the Texans. Last week they held Josh Allen to a 30% completion rate. Josh Allen's probably better than Eric Mayo at this point. Also hit Josh Allen 9 times. Texans defense this season, that's not very good for a brand new quarterback.
Yeah.
So is Drake doomed in his first start against the Texans?
Okay, so you weren't on our morning meeting today. And when I heard this question, I said to Dusty, our producer, Dusty, I don't want to hurt your feelings, but I think this is the worst question we've ever had in a show. And he said Wild specifically requested it.
Yes, that's true.
So then the only reason we talk about this team is because of you.
Right.
And
It's
you
not true.
wanted
The number 3 pick is started.
You must want to cook.
Yeah. So give us your thoughts on Drake
analysis.
May. All right, give us your thoughts on Drake May.
You want me to go before you cook?
Sure. I'm not going to cook. I'm just coaching.
You better cook.
Show.
It was your question. This is fine. It's a collision sport. It's tackle football.
Thank you.
And you got the worst offensive line in the league.
Well,
they're not. Jacoby Brissett's running for his life. You got no receivers of note to throw. No receivers of note to throw to.
Yeah.
So put him in next week. Put him in the week after. It's gonna be the same thing.
Thank you.
I get it that the Texans are a top defense and all that, but still, I mean, he's waited long enough. And I actually think this is good because the expectations are low. Like, had you started Drake May at the beginning of the season and he comes out struggling, now fans kind of look, oh, now we got a guy, he's not. Look at Bo Nix, look at Jaden Daniels, look at Caleb Wilson, you know. And so now Brissett's been so bad, expectations are low.
Correct.
They know you don't have pass blocking. So he goes in there, he takes some lumps, but he'll get his experience. I think it's fine.
Thank you. I 100% agree with that. And Greg, I will ask you 2 questions. I would like you to, if you're thinking about leaning like, should I hurt Wild's feelings or not, I would lean towards not. There's 2 major questions that all Patriots fans and Drake May's families are worried about. Number, the offensive line so bad that he's actually going to get hurt, or is he at risk of injury? And that's why Jacoby Brissett was out there, because Jacoby could still, he took a lot of hits, but he can identify stuff that Drake May can't. Drake May popped in the Jets game for a little while and was immediately getting hit. It looked like he was confused. 2, is there a chance that he gets bad habits because he's so nervous about being hit, footwork breaks down, and those bad habits kind of stick with him and his career starts
So those are both
careening
legitimate
away?
concerns, and the answer to both of them are yes. When you think about, he's going to get hit. Like, this offensive line is terrible. But even with the offensive line being terrible, what stands out more than anything is not having the center that you wanted to have if he was going to start in David Andrews. Like, him being out now, obviously a couple weeks ago, getting injured, he has to now set the protection, adjust the protection, like scheme, adjust plays, like all those things. When we heard last week Caleb Williams, center, yell at him when he got something wrong, it's like, will that be the case for Drake May? Those are things that you're going to be concerned about now because it's on his plate. And then just the lack of talent around him.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
I'm not willing to go there.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
What? You don't think there's a lack of talent?
No, I don't.
Who?
I want to see the guys. I want to see the guys perform. I want to give these guys a chance.
I will add this. Because of his athletic ability and Jacoby Brissett's inability to move, I think he's gonna get hit. But he will be better.
He should be able to protect himself oddly better than Jacoby from a escapability standpoint.
Yes.
But he might also put himself in more
Harm's
jeopardy
because
than Jacoby would. Listen, you know where I stand on this. The Patriots, and I think they've demonstrated through their actions, they were not organizationally ready to draft a quarterback.
That's unfortunate.
And that when the Giants were offering you the 6th pick and their first rounder next year and probably something else small, I think they should have done that. And taken a lineman or Malik Neighbors, who the Giants took, and be awful this year and do it next year. But they took the kid who I actually said I would have taken second because he's not 190 pounds like Jaden Daniels. So I like Drake May, and I wish him the best. But I just worry about everything around him. And I do think the Patriots have bad weapons. We know they have bad offensive line. So I wish the kid the best. I think it's going to be really, really
So
good.
would you guys?
Yet, here's Bosa on this very segment. Take a listen.
It's a lot of pressure. It's not a must-win because I'm stealing Kyle's team meeting thing because technically your season's over if it's a must-win, but it definitely feels like it, so we're treating it that way.
Correct. It's more of a vibes thing.
He definitely watches.
He gets.
the
He
show.
loves
And it was
Shanahan too.
You said
got it from
he
Shanahan.
said I'm stealing it from Shanahan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's my nickname.
You have changed the meaning of must win.
Yeah.
yeah.
You have.
Oh, what is this?
When you-
Hold on. Let's spend some time on this graphic.
Okay, it's done.
54 for 74 rating.
Greg Jennings is here.
Who's that?
We'll start with Brew. Brew must win.
Yes, absolutely a must win. Absolutely. They're already 0-2 in the division.
Yeah.
Right? They're 0-3 in the NFC.
Yeah.
This division is going to be tight. Like, there's going to be teams probably with the same record that the tiebreakers will determine who gets into the playoffs.
That's right.
So, yeah, they got, and not to mention the next game, Kansas City.
Yeah.
So, if you lose this, you could be 2-5 like that. All right. So, yeah, it's an absolute must win for the Niners. And even the manner in which they lost the 2 games in the division, blowing fourth quarter leads.
Yeah.
Like, again, like that, they could be 4-1.
Yep.
They've blown it, so they got to go out there and get it done. Must win.
Yeah, you just said it. All the reasons. Number one for me is who they play next. And then who they follow up with the team that they've been beating up on with the Cowboys. But like, you think about how they've not performed late in games in that second halves. They've had 10 and 13-point leads in second halves of these games, and they found ways to lose them. And so you're playing a division opponent, you said all those things. You can't lose this game and then have the next 2 before your bye.
Who on the set had the guts before the year to say the Niners were going to miss the playoffs? Raise your hand.
All right, look,
Greg,
let's
just
not
look,
get ahead
well,
of
I'm
ourselves.
just.
Oh, he's
listen,
treating
my
it right
hand-
now.
No,
Yeah, we'll see in a few
my
weeks.
hand's not up. I
He's
didn't
treating it right
have the
now, man.
guts.
He just
I
raised
just
his hand.
Drew,
A little
Drew,
upset.
I asked.
See, now he can do no wrong. He can
Drew,
get a few upsets right.
Drew.
I'm just saying.
Nobody was even mad at you. I was just trying to give Greg Jennings
Raise
some
his hand.
credit. So the 0-3 in the conference and 0-2 in the division
Yeah.
is a key point. The fact that you're playing the Chiefs, who have Mahomes has never lost to the Niners, and it's not just the Super Bowls, also a couple regular season meetings. 2 of his most spectacular statistical games were against this team. Here's a question I have for the Niners, because it's a clean sweep on yes, it's a must-win for them. Has Kyle Shanahan already reached out to Robert Saleh? Not just to give him, sorry that you lost your job, but also, hey man, you want to come in and be a defensive consultant? We've had a lot of turnover in defensive. One of the things the Niners have suffered from is a Patriots-esque brain drain, which is you are good for so long, you lose coordinators left and right. Like the Chiefs are in a lucky spot in that their D coordinator failed as a head coach so kind of spectacularly, nobody tries to hire him, so they don't have to worry about that. But they lost Saleh, they lost D'Amico, they fire Wilkes.
Did you hear that other story? The other report that Shanahan called Joe Douglas about Ulbrich? And that's what,
that was in the off season, right?
Yeah, and that's what made him think like, oh, if you want this guy, but now I'm adding a little bit to it.
That he was doing
like
it because he wanted
Ulbrich.
wanted his buddy to get fired so he could bring his buddy
Saleh
back.
back.
That's so
When
whatever
you saw
it is.
Baltimore, they bringing in pieces to help
Dean
back order.
Pease. So yeah, and by the way, the other thing is, here's the other quick one. Sorry, I know it's supposed to be faster. We can joke whatever it is. Those Purdy numbers are what they are.
Yes, they are.
And if they lose this week to Mike McDonald, and by the way, the last time Brock Purdy played a Mike McDonald defense, Brew had to take him off the MVP list. That was the 4-turnover game against Baltimore. Gave him
Brock's
hell.
gotta pick it up.
That, could be a problem.
He
So,
could
yes.
find himself on the Bud list.
Oh,
Not everybody's Daniel Jones lighting up the Seahawks, so maybe. Meanwhile, Bills at Jets Monday night. Josh Allen, he went from MVP to having back-to-back. Last game, he completed 9 of 30 passes in one of the least efficient games in NFL history. Here's a stat that Josh cooked up. Lost 3 straight after starting 3-0. Only 6 teams made the playoffs and 16 missed the playoffs. So we'll start with you this time. Must win?
Okay, before I answer, don't you have some bookkeeping to do?
Oh, I'm sorry.